Doom is a 2005 science fiction film directed by Andrzej Bartkowiak, with writing being handled by Dave Callahan and Wesley Strict. If you aren't familiar with Doom in the least, I have to ask, what are you? Well, anyways, Doom is a series of games starting way back in 1993. Simple story is, you are Doom Guy, and there are demons. You will kill these demons. Now, there is actually a light story going on that becomes more elaborate as the entries continue. Or at least as elaborate as a porno story, if you ask one of the original creators, John Carmack. The demons killed your rabbit. Go John Wick on him. If you want a bit more, there is the book series, and the comic books. They exist. However, we'd see the first reboot with Doom 3 in 2004. New engine, enhanced graphics, pushed technology forward again. This time, however, it upped the horror aspect. Doom can generously be called action horror. It's not scary, but the things you fight are monsters, and clearly within the realm of horror. Just, you're the Doom Guy, and that super shotgun would give Jason a run for his money. Doom 3 has us play a Space Marine corporal, who is Doom Guy, but in a reboot with slightly more emphasis on horror. Look, I don't even know how much of Doom 1 through 3, including the 64 version, is canon to Doom 2016. I just like talking about Doom and saying Doom a lot. Can you guess my favorite Marvel villain? Okay, it's not him, but he's okay. Anyways, Doom, the 2005 movie, follows a group of rapid response tactical squad soldiers who must travel to the UAC facility on Mars. Once there, they must discover what went wrong, eliminate any threats, and overcome family drama while learning that there may be just enough good left in the soul of a soldier. I mean, managed to at least hit the dartboard. Let's circle strafe with rockets. This is Doom. The film starts off dark, creepy, and with some random monsters just shredding a bunch of scientists. Well, that was on Mars, so we'll save that for later. Right now we need to meet the squad. The no-nonsense, honor to the core Sarge, played by Dwayne Johnson. The sleazeball, I don't know how he got in this team, Portman, played by Richard Brake. Fun guy of the group, Duke, played by Razek Adoti. Silent strong type Destroyer, played by Diobai Opari. The religious man, Goat, played by Ben Daniels. Mac, who is there, played by Yao Chen. The kid, who is a young kid, played by Al Weaver.
Handle ID, Goat. Handle ID, the kid.
The kid?
And finally, our protagonist, Reaper, played by Carl Urban. Yeah, most of their nicknames are somewhat ironic or play on their character type. Well, leave just got cancelled, so it's time to suit up and go. Save for Reaper, who Sarge suggests staying behind. Yeah, it seems Reaper and the Mars installation have a past, and Sarge doesn't mean in that time he got himself stuck in a death loop thanks to manual saves in Red Faction.
RRTS Special Ops clearance verified. Handle ID, Reaper.
But hey, he'll make a serviceable character arc later, so along he goes. You may be realizing how different this is from the games at the time, and yes, also now. If we take the novel's story, then Doom Guy punched his superior to stop his squad from shooting civilians in a fog. Punishment was being sent to a shit security job at the first game's facility. Doom 3, which is what this movie tries to adapt, just had the player showing up as a corporal. The novelization of Doom 3 takes an alternate approach to Doom 1's novelization. Here, Doom Guy, now named John Kane, essentially disobeyed orders to rescue some Marines. This got him court-martialed for disobeying orders. But stuff happened and he was assigned to a security job on Mars. Here it's so far stand-up soldier being sent on a mission where he has a past related to Mars. I mean, you could have at least had him punch Portman.
I'm going down to El Honto. I'm gonna lock myself in a motel room with a bottle of tequila and 3 she-boys.
Well, anyways, they arrive at the UAC ARC facility in Nevada, and teleport to UAC ARC facility on Mars. Here we meet Pinky, played by Dexter Fletcher. If you know the name, you might have a prediction of his fate. But how did he end up like that?
What does he mean? He means he went to one galaxy, his ass went to another.
The dumbest fucking thing in this movie happens. Mac pulls guard duty while the rest move in to meet Reaper's sister, Samantha Grimm, played by Rosamund Pike. Reaper tries to pull some mission parameters to remove her, but...
Why don't you ask your CO what your orders are?
To contain and neutralize the threat, protect the civilians, and retrieve UAC property.
That is a primary objective. Gotta do it to complete the game. Also, damn, it's cold on Mars.
Tell me you didn't let a fine-looking piece of ass like that get away from you, Reaper.
She's my sister.
No shit.
Don't do this again, man.
Do what?
Locked, loaded, and ready to make shit dead, the squad moves in. But first to get the one memorable thing about Mac out of the way.
You don't look like a Mac.
Katsuhiko Kumanosuke Takahashi.
So, Mac.
What follows is a lot of tactical movements through dark hallways and seeing freaky science stuff. I'll admit the sets look pretty fucking cool. I can believe they're in a science facility. It even comes complete with morally ambiguous containment rooms.
Because the walls are electrified. You asshole.
Duke and Sarge find the armory, where Sarge sums up Reaper's past.
Reaper's parents led the first team of archaeologists to Olduvai. They died in some accident when he was a kid.
Yeah, it's kinda glazed over, but it's also not that meaningful. No, what is meaningful is a suggestion of the Bioforce gun. But that has to wait, as Sam reveals the UAC found fucking humanoid remains on Mars. Not entirely sure who posed Lucy like that. I mean, I suppose they could estimate where her and the kid was when they died, but the pose would be pretty hard to find naturally if she died to a cave-in, or even something more aggressive. Also, the dig site has been reopened. But ignore that, as the 23rd chromosome has been discovered via Lucy. This extra chromosome essentially makes her stronger, faster, and smarter than a normal 22 chromosome human. Though it may have been synthetic, not natural.
Maybe they just went with time.
You don't shield a baby from time.
So you have a precursor civilization of some kind that was essentially superhuman, and something at least fought them. You know, the later Doom games may have borrowed a bit from this film. Meanwhile, Goat and Portman have followed someone in the Carmack's office. Chasing him down with the rest of the squad, they find it's Dr. Carmack. Makes sense?
Oh, disgrace.
Oh, damn.
What isn't making sense is him and his current situation. While he's taken care of, Portman and Kid are sent back to the airlock to dig in. Things are a little tense, so he asks if Portman has, any of the stuff.
Do you have any?
Do I have any? What?
Break might be a cool dude, but god damn does he play some creepy fucks. The stuff is drugs, by the way. Or Skittles. Honestly, I may be the reason child safety locks exist. Everyone else is off doing their own thing. Goat shows us how devout he is. A bit too much. Meanwhile, Duke reveals to Sam that he doesn't do nanowalls. Also, there is Dr. Jenna Willets, played by Sarah Houghton, who is looking for her husband, Dr. Steve Willets, played by Vladislav Dinteri. No, she isn't important to the plot, I feel bad she is so minor in this film, I forgot she existed. I forget she's in the same scene sometimes, and sometimes I think it's just a random extra who wandered on set. Clearing more of the facility, they take out a monkey and a zombie, and wow do those weapons pack some punch.
Oh, no. Sir, put it down!
Oh, and also we learn that there's something in the blood of the infected. Well, time to chase after a new infected. This one is fast, and the entire squad needs to converge in on it. Just as they tighten the noose, they discover it fled into the sewers. Oh, and Carmack has left. Back with the squad, they're moving in, and we get a pretty effective scare.
Dr. Willets?
So yeah, Goat is incapacitated, and surprisingly effective-looking imp is running amok. Say what you want about this film, but the practical effects sets and costumes are top tier. I know this film gets a ton of hate by people, but I've seen House of the Dead, I've seen House of the Dead 2, I've seen enough video game movies that I can confidently say this one isn't that bad. I mean, hell, literally. Goat is apparently going off about angels and demons while a squad tries to save him. So far on paper, this film is hitting the notes of Doom 3. So he's dead, Sarge is asking questions about where the fuck this creature came from, and how can you be mad at this dialogue?
Is there any way this thing came from the outside, from the surface?
The planet is completely dead.
It came from somewhere, lady.
Portman, shut up.
And I'm just going to show some random footage while I talk, and for copyright reasons, I'm talking still. Here we go.
Maybe it doesn't need air. It could have come from another planet or something.
What, like an alien?
Look at that thing! Portman, you need to shut the fuck up!
So yeah, Pinky is armed, the door to the Ark is locked, Reaper reveals that the imp isn't what he and Goat shot at originally, and the team is off to secure the other door at the dig site. Sorry Pinky, but you got loaded into a later mission. You need the pistol start. So the mission is search and destroy, with a count of 85 turned personnel and 2 confirmed KIA that leaves 83. Realistically, not that impossible to 100% kill rate. But Portman is freaked and pushes for calling in reinforcements, which Sarge shuts down. Well, Duke and Sam are back in the lab. Were you wondering why Duke doesn't do nano walls? Now in the dig site, we get some mild audio flashbacks, but the important part is that Mac is alone. He better hold on to his head.
I'm in or out for 26 hours.
Pursuing the creature, it manages to escape back into the lab. While the squad is ordered around, Sarge doubles back because he needs a hand. Speaking of back, Goat is back, and he came to headbang. Well, that's a shock. But now for what is arguably the most memorable scene of the movie. The big fucking gun.
Big fucking gun.
Meanwhile, Portman has gone off to the little boy's room to call him backup. This opens Destroyer up to attack as the Hell Knight, played by Brian Steele, who plays a surprising amount of large monsters. This is also a very memorable scene as Destroyer actually manages to hold his own against the Hell Knight. Eventually, he even manages to pin the beast against the holding cell wall and attempts to climb out. This plan falls through. Oh, and Portman is getting his shit rocked. At least Sarge gets a shot off with the BFG.
Holy shit.
He doesn't hit anything, but the destruction is still the best on-screen appearance of the iconic weapon. So soldiers are dropping left and right. Goat came back and killed himself. At least one creature is still at large. And where is Carmack?
Look at the left ear.
Well, Sam has no answers, but hypothesizes that maybe it's reversible.
Because Carmack's condition is that he's dead.
Also, I want to point out how I love the order for Kid and Duke to make sure the dead bodies are still dead over in the dig site, because sometimes corpses would get up in Doom 3. The guide on the special features even mentions popping bodies in the head to make sure. Grilling Sam for information, it's revealed that the UAC have been testing chromosome 23 on a human. That human being a death row inmate who very quickly began to transform. Well, Reaper believes they should destroy the files, Sarge says no, but both their attention is taken away as something is cut into the Ark room. God, I would have loved to see the Hell Knight cutting away at that with a saw. Leaving Sam behind, the squad rushes to stop it, but are too late. Well, the system is down for 5 minutes, Sarge wants to go on a purge, and Reaper is separated as he rushes back to Sam. Sam then takes a few minutes to explain that the 23rd genome is affecting people differently. Whole bunch of science stuff about psychotic behaviors, and it equates to...
Linked to what? Evil?
10% of the human genome is still unmapped. Some say it's the genetic blueprint for the soul.
So following the story, we have a dig site that uncovered a precursor civilization that may have made a synthetic 23rd chromosome or been born with it. Probably synthetic, and this essentially judged their soul to be good or evil, but in more scientific terms of how their DNA or brain works. You know, I'm just saying this isn't the worst take on Doom, especially since it's a third one. I mean, I always assumed Doom guy resisted demons through sheer fucking will, and hell, the later Doom games have the Sentinels, who fight hell, and some become corrupt, being the Marauders in the game. I'm just saying, yeah, it's not that bad. If we level hell down to a physical realm of a precursor civilization which apparently lived on Mars, you know what, I'm not deep diving this today. I'll just say I don't hate how it's done here entirely. Oh, and Sarge is on a fucking warpath. Reaper arrives late to the party as the squad is double-tapping corpses. They do find Pinky is alive, and the kid discovers a few survivors. Meanwhile, Reaper and Sarge argue back and forth about how not all will be infected. I mean, that would be pretty hard to tell outside of them not being wounded. I suppose they could check blood samples. Either way, the kid is back with some great news about survivors he didn't kill, and Sarge, he didn't want to hear that.
Go to hell.
Holy shit!
Things are tense right now. We need a unifier. Pinky, you'll make a great sacrifice.
Oh, there's something behind me, isn't there?
They give chase for all of 2 seconds before swarms of zombies pour down on them. Returning fire, Duke gets pretty sus as he's vented. Even Sarge is nabbed.
I'm not supposed to.
Well, Reaper, that leaves you, and I'm sure you'll do good. To be fair, I'd assume ricochets would play hell on anyone shooting in an environment like this. Well, look, Sam, Reaper says he isn't that great of a person, so hang on to his handgun in case he turns as you try to save him with the power juice. Waking up, Sam is gone, and we get what most people remember from this film, the FPS segment. While it can feel more House of the Dead than Doom, it's still a solid scene and very enjoyable. But once that comes to an end, it's just Reaper and Sarge. Sarge, who is turning into a Hell Knight, either because he was simply infected, or because he got a kill streak off the civvies he took out. Either way, it's a fun fight with them beating each other around, and Sarge improvising weapons. Eventually it comes to a climax, with Sarge being sucked back to Mars, and finally someone uses a goddamn grenade. It's implied Pinky tried earlier, but I'm guessing he didn't pull the pin. If there was a pin. He didn't set to go. Ascending to the surface with Sam, we end happily ever after. The credits that recreate the FPS segment don't. Being made on a budget of around $60 million, the film sadly flopped, making just under its initial budget. Being filmed in the Czech Republic, specifically Prague, over the course of October 18, 2004 to January 28, 2005. The film would finally premiere in Greece, October 25, 2005. The final premiere would be to India via the internet, October 10, 2010. Everyone called this film Doom, with the only exception being that some South American countries added the subtitle The Gate of Hell. The unrated cut of this film adds several scenes, namely a nude scene with Portman and the kid coming across a naked female zombie. That is Dr. Tallman, whose hand is the one held by Carmack and later used to access the BFG. Why is she nude when last we saw she was clothed? I don't know. But more importantly, it extends the FPS segment. One of the most interesting bits of trivia I know about this film is that, while training with actual Marines for the role, it was discovered the actor playing Destroyer kept blinking. They did largely use blinks in this movie. That was what was causing him to blink. Because of this limitation, they opted to instead give him a gun further from his face. This is why he wields a minigun, or I suppose in Doom terms it would be a chain gun. This may make some of you laugh, but Vin Diesel was originally asked to play Sarge. Speaking of Sarge, Johnson was intended to play Reaper's character, but opted to be Sarge, as the role seemed more interesting. The code for the BFG door in the film is IDKFA, which in a game is a cheat code for all the keys, weapons, and ammo. The movie actually had 2 BFG prompts that vibrated. Johnson kept both. That infamous first-person segment was planned for 3 months and shot over 14 days. Creature effects for the film were created by Stan Winston Studios. A film was planned all the way back in 1999 with Arnold Schwarzenegger starring. However, controversy started up when 2 idiot kids hurt each other with chainsaws. They had played the game, and of course people got on the game's case. There were actually a number of attempts at films based on the Doom property. 1997 saw Alan B. McElroy writing a script, while Dean Lorey was writing the script for Arnold. Apparently both were closer to the games, but ultimately scrapped. One complaint I do hear about this is it being a squad and not one Doom guy, but when you play Doom 3, you have supporting characters, so I never got that complaint. Doom is an interesting movie. On its own, it's an okay movie, saved by cool effects and fun scenes. As an adaptation, it's weird. If we solely look at Doom 3, then it's pretty different. The squad never goes to hell, and outside of some interpretation, there isn't exactly a hell mention. You can't really compare it to Doom 1 and 2, but then again 3 was already a different direction. If we had gone the Doom 4 that was originally planned, I wonder how that approach would appear next to this film. However, the film does get the more horror angle up 3, as well as various nods and winks that don't come off as annoying. The movie can feel at times like a Doom 3 we might have gotten if decisions were just a bit different. So while the story is different and the source of the monsters is different from the games, I do suggest this movie. It's actually competent and has the actors to pull it across the finish line with the effects and sets aiding them. It's not super cheap like the second Doom film adaptation, and it's way more respectful compared to other game adaptations, and adaptations in general. The movie manages to be fun, and even take on more of an action approach as things continue. I still find it funny that a precursor civilization was shown to have fought, or at least died, to evil ones, and the later Doom games have precursor civilizations fighting hell. Anyways, if you want a fun flick for the night or just something enjoyable to watch, then you can do a lot worse than Doom. This film may not be a super shotgun, but it's definitely the solid shotgun you get first.
I thought being in the shit was a figure of speech.